We're here today to take a careful look at the shooting that happened at Florida State University, April 17th, 2025.
Yes, a lot has come out in the days since, and we really want to try and move past just those initial reports.
Exactly. The goal here is to, provide a deeper understanding of what unfolded on that really difficult day.
It's an event that's affected so many people, and as we go through this, we really aim to explore all the different facets of this tragedy.
We should probably start by trying to picture the scene. FSU, that afternoon, April 17th.
Right. The student union, normally a very busy place on campus, right?
Absolutely. Full of life, students meeting, studying, maybe grabbing coffee between classes, that typical campus energy.
End of the semester getting closer, that kind of thing.
And then 1:47 p.m., everything just shattered.
The sound of gunshots, it changes everything in an instant.
Laughter, conversation gone. Replaced by, fear and panic. Students scrambling for safety.
And we know now it was a 20-year-old FSU student, Phoenix Ikner, who started firing.
The immediate result was just devastating. 2 people killed, 6 others injured.
And the student union, a place meant for community, becomes a scene of violence, trauma.
It's often the heart of the campus, isn't it? The student union.
It really is, kind of a microcosm of the whole university. So for it to happen there, it just highlights the vulnerability everyone must have felt.
And mid-afternoon, on a weekday, just underscores how sudden, how out of the blue it was.
Exactly, during peak activity.
So, the person at the center of this, Phoenix Ikner, 20 years old, an FSU student.
And right away, so many questions. Who was he? Why would he do this?
We know he had deep roots in Tallahassee, lived there his whole life, part of the FSU community he attacked.
Which is, yeah, another layer.
So, over this deep dive, we want to move past that first wave of news, try to build a more comprehensive picture of what happened, who was involved, and maybe some of the bigger questions it raises.
Yes, it's crucial, isn't it? To look beyond the shock, to carefully examine the event, the person, the response, all of it.
Okay, let's think more about that day, April 17th. Once those first shots were fired, the campus reaction must have been immediate.
Oh, absolutely. Lockdown alerts going out fast. That message. Find shelter, now.
Can you imagine? Classrooms suddenly feeling unsafe, students trying to barricade doors with whatever they could find.
And the fear spreading across, 1,600 acres? That's a huge area.
Plus information flying around on phones, social media.
Right. Some accurate, maybe some not. Just adding to the panic, the uncertainty, not knowing where the threat was, how big it was, that feeling of helplessness.
But amidst that chaos, law enforcement, they got to the student union incredibly fast.
Reports really emphasized their speed, their precision in responding.
And they found Ikner there.
Yes, encountered him still armed, with the handgun his stepmother's, we now know, and a shotgun.
And they gave commands to drop the weapons.
Clear commands, yes, but reports say he didn't comply.
Which suggests, what? A certain level of determination. Or maybe desperation at that point.
It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely signals an extremely volatile situation for those arriving officers. They had to make split-second decisions.
So the situation ended when police fired, using non-lethal force, is that right?
Described as non-lethal precision, yes. Ikner was apprehended, wounded, but alive.
And the scene left behind at the union must have been deeply disturbing.
Bullet casings on the floor, paramedics working on the injured, just the air thick with fear, disbelief. The aftermath.
That immediate aftermath, it leaves a scar, doesn't it? Not just physically, but on the whole community.
Absolutely. Those tangible reminders are traumatic. And the emotional recovery starts right then, even as the investigation kicks off.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit to Phoenix Ikner himself. 20 years old, lifelong Tallahassee resident, FSU student.
And that detail you mentioned earlier, his stepmother being a Leon County Sheriff's deputy.
It's a really jarring detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adds such a troubling layer.
It really does. It challenges assumptions, raises so many questions. Investigators must be looking very closely at that connection.
And we're starting to hear more about his background, some troubling aspects.
Like the legal name change back in high school.
Yes. That feels significant, right? Like trying to break from the past, maybe create a new identity.
It often signals some kind of significant internal struggle or shift, yes.
Classmates apparently described him as quiet, almost invisible sometimes.
But there was another side.
Some recall that darker edge, expressing extremist political views, apparently. Ranting about the government, society, things that made people uneasy. And reports of him becoming more isolated leading up to this, pulling back, spending more time online.
Which naturally raises that question of online radicalization. Was he finding something in those forums? A sense of purpose, maybe. Belonging.
The New York Times noted he was seen as a loner, which isn't unusual in a huge student body, but crucially, they said there was no clear sign it would escalate to violence.
And that's the incredibly difficult part, isn't it? Isolation, even extremist views, they're worrying signs. We see them in other cases. But predicting violence, it's almost impossible.
A real challenge for threat assessment.
Absolutely, even when some signs are there. And that name change could point to a lot of personal turmoil.
Yeah, the weapons. A handgun and a shotgun. And their origin.
His stepmother's personal firearms.
A sheriff's deputy. Someone trained in firearm safety, expected to follow strict storage protocols.
Exactly. Which leads to the immediate critical questions.
How did he get them? Was it just a lapse in security? Did he manipulate someone? Did he plan to steal them?
They don't know yet. The Leon County Sheriff's Office hasn't commented on that specific point, which is understandable given the ongoing investigation and the family link.
But they will be focused on that. How those weapons became accessible is a huge piece of the puzzle.
It could offer crucial insights into his planning, his mindset leading up to it.
It's just a chilling irony, though. A family connected to law enforcement right at the center of this.
The contrast is stark. A reminder of, well, the unpredictable nature of these things and the immense responsibility of firearm ownership, especially for law enforcement.
We should also talk about the law enforcement response more broadly. Tallahassee PD's speed was critical.
Absolutely. Containing the situation, preventing potentially even more harm.
And the crime scene itself. 9 buildings cordoned off, that's massive.
Imagine the work involved. Meticulously collecting every casing, documenting everything, interviewing witnesses who are probably in shock.
Painstaking is the word.
Yeah.
And doing it sensitively, given what people just went through.
Precisely.
And then the FBI got involved.
Which signals the seriousness, right? Potential broader implications.
They bring huge resources. Digital forensics expertise looking for wider connections.
And they set up that digital tip line, asking students, anyone, for videos, photos.
Because nowadays, someone probably recorded something. A small detail on a phone could be key.
Exactly. Bystander footage can capture things official investigations might miss. It's become a crucial tool.
In FSU itself, the university,
Yeah.
they had to react immediately.
President McCullough canceling classes, all operations, even athletics. The Seminoles games stopped.
It really showed the gravity of it all.
Yeah.
How it hit the entire institution.
And his message, we're a family. That must have resonated, provided some sense of unity in that shock and grief.
Strong leadership is so vital in moments like that. Trying to reassure a community that's just been traumatized.
Canceling things lets people focus on just processing, on their well-being.
The university also ramped up support, didn't they? More counseling available, warnings to stay clear of the crime scene area.
Yes, addressing that immense emotional toll.
And we saw those memorials starting to appear near the student union.
Candles, flowers, notes.
It's a natural, important way for people to come together, isn't it? To grieve collectively.
Definitely. A focal point for mourning. A visible sign of solidarity, of the human cost.
FSU has a long history. This becomes part of that history now. A very difficult part.
And the road to healing is long. It requires sustained support, resources, understanding.
We've also heard directly from some survivors, people who were right there.
Their stories. They bring the human impact home so powerfully.
Reed Siebold, a political science senior, he told WFSU about being in lockdown.
Barricading the door, texting friends. That raw fear he described.
You can almost feel it, the uncertainty, hearing noises outside the door, just terrifying.
It illustrates vividly what students were going through in those moments.
And Ava Arenado, she spoke to CBS News Miami. Her professor secured the door.
And then that chaotic evacuation later, she talked about the panic, just everyone running.
The tremor in her voice, she said. It really speaks to the lasting trauma.
That complete breakdown of normalcy, pure survival instinct kicking in. Those memories can be incredibly difficult to process, leave lasting scars.
And it's so crucial to remember these aren't just statistics or headlines. They're real people, students whose lives are changed forever.
Absolutely. Their experiences are central. They remind us of the deep personal trauma a community like FSU endures.
And tragically, FSU has been through something like this before.
The Strozier Library shooting in 2014, it's an unsettling parallel.
Myron May, the gunman then, wounded 3 students before police stopped him.
The similarities are really eerie. Lone shooter, campus lockdown, the community left asking why all over again.
It raises incredibly tough questions, doesn't it? about lessons learned from 2014.
Were they learned? Were effective measures put in place? Mental health resources, security, threat assessment.
Because here we are, just over a decade later. Another similar tragedy. Could more have been done?
Were warning signs missed? Did vulnerabilities remain? These are questions FSU has to grapple with now, and frankly, campuses everywhere.
It really underscores the complexity of campus safety. There's likely no single easy answer.
It points towards needing a comprehensive approach, doesn't it? Mental health support, threat assessment protocols, security measures, maybe even looking at broader societal issues.
Okay, so where does the investigation stand now? This is April 21st, a few days after.
It's very active, high stakes. Ikner is in custody, recovering from his injuries, but he hasn't said anything publicly.
So no explanation from him yet.
None reported. Investigators are likely digging deep into his digital life, phone, laptop, social media, looking for those breadcrumbs.
And the big mystery right now is motive. Why did he do it? There's no clear, obvious reason yet.
Which forces investigators to piece things together meticulously. His history, communications, the lead up to the shooting, digital forensics is absolutely key here.
What are the potential motives they might be looking at?
Well, one area is those extremist views classmates mentioned. Online radicalization is a serious possibility.
Those online echo chambers can reinforce dangerous ideas, right?
Yeah.
Even glorify violence sometimes.
Exactly. It's a major concern and something they'd investigate thoroughly.
Another angle could be personal grievances.
Right. Social problems, academic issues, conflicts with people. Could something like that have been a trigger?
And the family dynamic, especially with his stepmother and law enforcement, that's surely being examined too.
Oh, definitely. Tensions at home, specific issues there. It's standard to look into the individual's relationships and personal stressors.
And then there's mental health, always a crucial factor to consider in these cases.
Absolutely. Undiagnosed conditions, untreated trauma, a gradual decline in well-being. It's all possible.
The lack of a manifesto maybe points to something more internal, less planned in a public way.
It could suggest that, yes. Or perhaps just a lack of coherent planning in that specific regard. It's hard to know yet.
And the FBI's continued involvement. They might be looking for something larger, a network, an external trigger.
They're likely keeping all possibilities open, looking beyond just individual factors to see if wider influences were at play.
It's important, though, not to jump to conclusions about mental health, right? It's often a factor, but it's complex.
Critically important. Avoid generalizations. A thorough investigation looks at history, stressors, crises, but doesn't make assumptions.
Amidst all this investigation and uncertainty, we've also seen the community response, the resilience.
Vigils across Tallahassee. Students, faculty, residents coming together.
Those candlelight vigils are always so moving. A collective attempt to find some light.
And the hashtags online. Hashtag FU Strong, hashtag Seminole Family. They become symbols of unity and support.
It's crucial for healing, isn't it? Those shared moments of grief and solidarity.
Absolutely vital. A visible demonstration of collective strength.
And President McCullough's message, "We're a family," seems to have really become that rallying cry.
Providing that central point of unity.
Plus the practical support counseling centers working overtime, faculty reaching out to students.
Trying to offer stability in a really unstable time.
But healing isn't uniform, is it? It's different for everyone.
Deeply individual. Community support helps, but people cope at their own pace. And for those directly involved or who saw it, the impact is likely very long-lasting.
Especially in places like the student union itself. That space has changed now.
It can become a powerful trigger. Reclaiming that sense of safety takes time, sensitivity, ongoing support.
So the investigation continues. Forensics on the weapons, Ikner's room, his online life.
Meticulous work. Digital experts looking for deleted data, hidden communications. Every potential clue matters.
The FBI tip line is still active.
Yes, and they're likely re-interviewing witnesses, trying to build that complete picture.
And then the legal process starts.
Building a case. Ikner will likely face very serious charges, murder, attempted murder.
And that takes time. The legal system moves deliberately.
Often quite lengthy, yes.
And hanging over it all is still that question of motive.
If it turns out to be ideological, that has broad implications for understanding radicalization. If it remains a more personal tragedy, well, that still leaves so many questions, so much loss.
The legal process tries to bring accountability, maybe some sense of closure for the community.
That's the aim. Justice under the law. And the motive, whatever it is, will shape how we understand this, maybe inform future prevention efforts.
When you step back, It's hard not to see this reflecting bigger, troubling issues in society.
Absolutely. The fragility of places we think are safe, the difficulty of spotting insider threats.
And the ongoing, often polarized debate about guns.
Mm.
Hundreds of millions of firearms in civilian hands in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's always part of the context.
It is. And the mental health crisis, too, especially among young people navigating a really complex world.
It forces us to ask those hard questions about our societal preparedness, doesn't it?
Are our schools, law enforcement, healthcare systems equipped? Can they identify people at risk and intervene effectively before something like this happens?
No easy answers, but conversations we absolutely have to keep having. The cost of not addressing it is just too high.
Critical questions demanding thoughtful, sustained effort. It requires a multifaceted approach, tackling root causes, having difficult talks.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on the FSU shooting, we're left with, well, profound sadness and still so many unanswered questions.
2 lives lost, others injured, a community deeply changed.
Ikner's motives is still unclear. The investigation goes on. FSU starts the long process of healing.
But the story reaches beyond Tallahassee, doesn't it? It's another painful reminder of these challenges we face, ensuring safety, well-being.
It underscores how interconnected we are and the need to keep working to understand and address the factors behind this kind of violence.
The search for answers, the healing, it continues for FSU and everyone affected.
Well, thank you for joining us today for this closer look at the FSU shooting. It's a story with so many layers: grief, mystery, resilience.
It truly is.
We hope you'll continue to think about the why behind this and maybe what steps could prevent future tragedies. Your thoughts on these tough issues really matter.
They do.
We'll keep following the case, provide updates as we learn more. We're committed to that thorough analysis. Until next time, please take care and stay informed.